Debbie Marcoux is licensed by the California Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS ID 237926. Also licensed in Arizona, 094-1504, Georgia 69178, Illinois 031.005-8339, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington, MLO 237926, Heidi Slade Points, California, DBO 1666881.
She's the mortgage mom. She can get things done. When you're in need and don't know where to go, pick up the phone and call Mom.
All right, well, welcome to Mortgage Mom Radio. I'm Debbie Marcoux, and as always, I've got Heidi Points with me.
Hello, everyone.
And we've also got George Hartmann. He is with Credit Repair in 30. George, I know you just had to move. We had to move you because there was sound, so you're like, the background's ugly, but that's okay. We've got you on. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, how you doing? Good to be here.
All right, thanks so much. So this is Mortgage Mom Radio, and what do we do? Well, we bring you guys all kinds of education and advice, everything to do with mortgage lending, real estate, buying real estate, should you refinance, should you purchase, all that good stuff. And we've been having a couple of, different people on to help understand the process a little bit better. So we've had, escrow in, we've had title in, we've had a real estate agent in, and today we've got George Hartmann. George is with Credit Repair in 30, like I mentioned. And George is going to talk to us. I thought it was going to be a really good story because he started in credit repair by fixing himself and then moved into, helping others. And so I thought it'd be really good to just talk with George, have him share a little bit of his experience with you, talk about things that you can do on your own to keep your, credit in great shape, always working towards that highest credit score. And then we'll get into other little things like, collection accounts and what is credit repair, what do they do for you and how does it help and is it worth the money and all that good stuff. So George, again, thank you so much for being here with us and, sharing your story. I know you're going to give it to us and we appreciate that you give us, that information. So anything you've got, man, just get started.
All right. Well, thank you, Debbie. It's good to be here and be back with you guys. And, the new normal, right? We make things work when we got to make them work. And, the main thing is bringing the information across. So, and it started with me. I go way back. I was in the mortgage business like yourself for 10 years. And unfortunately, in 07 and 08, I had some credit challenges and some personal challenges with the economy. And, a lot of us end up into these positions that weren't really our fault. And sometimes it is our fault, and we have to kind of get after it and figure out a way to fix it. And there is a way to fix it. And coming from the mortgage business for me, and I'll just share my story because I'm very transparent. And I think you have to be very, very transparent in this very personal thing for people. There's a lot of emotional things that go into, having credit challenges because we have children and we have kids that need things and just things that come up in our lives that we just can't do because of, either the challenges that we had in the past or not knowing how to fix those challenges, because they are all fixable. So in 2000, I guess it was 8-9 years ago now, I can't believe it's been that long. And I was actually headhunted to run a credit repair business. And I knew the business really well, and I didn't like what I saw based on what was going on out there. And I basically told them, I said, look, I'm having some challenges. Let's fix mine, and let's see how you guys do. I kind of put it to the test, and, it came back with phenomenal results. I was absolutely blown away at not only the work that got done, but the transparency of really letting me know what to expect throughout that process. And I was able to learn not only what the dispute process does and being able to remove all the negative things that were on my credit report, but also how to reestablish and rebuild myself and, what are the proper amount of accounts and how to protect my credit long term. So, yeah, it started with me and, I've been doing this full time on a full-time basis now for over 8 years. And it's been helping a lot of people.
Oh, I love it. And I love that we're live because we can see Heidi yelling at somebody saying, stop it. And poor George, you look like you had to go outside to get enough quietness to be able to be on the show with us. You look like you're outside. You might not be, but
No, hey, you know what? I'm north of Chicago, so I'm definitely not sitting outside.
I forgot how cold it is there right now. I forget. What's the temperature outside
Yeah,
right
well,
now?
it was in the 50s today, so it wasn't too bad. But I got to get out of here. You know, my philosophy is I'm not in flip flops and shorts. I'm in the wrong place.
Well, and we talk a lot about the RV. So I have an RV as well. Just bought one early this year, and the whole summer I was kind of traveling around and trying to work remotely. And you were mentioning that you've been traveling since February, which is awesome. And with your business, that's easy to do for you. So I think that that's amazing that you've been doing that, and able to basically work and see the world. I mean, at least the country. I've got
Yeah.
I've got a little one at home that doesn't really allow for that. It wasn't really the best experience for me working from the road, but I can totally see how it could happen. And I think that that's one of the things, honestly, with this whole virus and everything that's happened this year in 2020, that we've all learned that we can work without an actual office space.
Yeah, it has been such a blessing. I mean, I've had this dream of doing this for a long time, and actually has made me more effective at my job because I can actually enjoy my life, but I can take, you know me, Debbie, I'm on the clock 24/7 pretty
Yeah.
much. I'm available by text and phone. And, if I'm on the road, I just pull over at a rest stop to help somebody work up their analysis, get them going. And it works out really well. And look forward to, continuing to do that.
Yeah, no, that's so awesome. So, I love that you kind of went through, and everybody did. I mean, I'll be awesome or honest. You actually helped repair my credit back. I think 5 years ago or something.
Yeah.
We all went through a really hard time when your job is attached and tied to the economy, and how well that it's performing when everything really bit the dust started really in late '07, but it really started to bite the dust in '08, '09, and then 2010.
Yep.
We went from, having pretty decent income to almost nothing overnight. And it was very difficult for a lot of people to try to balance that and figure out what do you pay first, and what, where you don't have enough money. So you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're trying to keep up. And then you finally start to pull yourself out of that hole. And so a lot of that are things that are beyond your control. And some of it could have maybe been avoided, maybe living a little bit less to the edge of your income that you earn, and being a little bit more, tighter with, how much will you spend, with your own personal debt ratio, right? That would definitely help a lot of people. But, it is out of your control when everything just kind of like the rug gets pulled out from underneath you.
Let's be honest. It's kind of the American way.
Yes.
We make it, we spend it, we make it, we spend it. We work so hard to have that little bit of luxury. And, for us, well, I'm going to say live in California because I just moved out of California, but there are certain states that no matter how hard you work, it's just expensive. And it's expensive just to have that home or that car, or some of what some of us don't even consider luxuries, just a decent home, a decent car, a little bit of extras, and you're still living off of every bit of income you make. So yes, some could maybe scale it back a little bit, but was that little bit going to change when the market crashed and you lost 95% of your income? Probably not.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, no, I agree, Heidi. And I love that you brought that, I mean, there's a lot of people that are living in areas that are much less expensive, and good for them. There's people
Right.
like me that are in California that I'm having a hard time leaving, even though I should.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, the weather in California is just, perfect for me. I've lived in Illinois, grew up there, moved back for, a couple of years as an adult, and I just can't do those winters anymore. I don't like them. I'm not crazy about the humidity in the summertime. So, it's hard to try to think about, oh, well, I might go somewhere else when you've got the beautiful weather, and,
Right.
Yeah,
I get
California's
it.
good. California's good, I gotta say. But it is something that is very difficult to be able to balance the cost versus the income. And you lose a job overnight, and you could see somebody with perfect credit all of a sudden just be demolished. And it's important to know that you can get out of that. There is a way to get out of that, and how do you do it? So before we get much further, I want to make sure that everybody knows that's listening and watching. This is George Hartmann with Credit Repair in 30. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever about credit, please feel free to put your questions into the feed, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. We can see those comments. We can read them out loud. Matt's going to interrupt us. He's not going to wait. He likes to stare at me until I stop. He's not going to wait. He's just going to start, interrupting. But please get those questions in there. We want to hear from you. We want George to be able to answer those questions. And if you guys are watching on Saturday morning on Go Country, you need to start joining us live on YouTube. We're live at 5 every Wednesday. And every person that we have in will answer your questions. And if we don't have an interview in, then it's me and Heidi, and we're answering questions about home loans and mortgages and interest rates and paying off debt and, how much down payment do you need and all that good stuff. So make sure you guys are watching. Go to YouTube, search for Mortgage Mom Radio, click on that subscribe button, and also make sure you turn on your notification button so that you know that when we do go live. But it is every Wednesday at 5 unless there is a holiday. Holidays, we go dark. So if there is a holiday, we will not be on a Wednesday. But make sure you guys are there and you're watching and you're asking us our questions, because that's the best way for you to learn and for everybody else that is listening, for them to learn too. Because I guarantee that if you ask a question, there is somebody else that has that same question that would benefit from the answer and hearing the answer. So please, guys, make sure you guys tune in. So we got anything going on, Matt?
Well, yeah, on the subject of comments, Houseboat Billy says, "Good evening, ladies."
Houseboat Billy, we love that you're watching. One of our big fans, one of our only fans, other than my family, and they don't seem to be on tonight.
Well, everybody's watching election coverage, I think.
True. They are all watching the election coverage, and we're not going to get into politics this evening. That is for sure. No, it's not happening.
You know what? You know what? Though one thing we could get into is back to what Heidi said: the American way. And unfortunately, the American way with credit cards has become that it's the norm to have a balance. It's the norm to, it's the norm to carry a balance. And I was like that for a long time. Again, I use my story. My first credit card I ever got was a $2,500 limit Visa. And by the end of the first day, I had it at $2,400 with new rims and tires for my car. And it took me like 4 years. It took me like 4 years to pay that off. I didn't understand on a salary, borrowing that much money at that interest, how long it was going to take me. And people have just become accustomed to paying for a burrito that they ate a year ago, that they're making a monthly payment on their credit card. So guys, one of the biggest, there are two main things to maintaining a good credit score. Revolving credit debt is 35% of your credit score. So anytime you run a balance up over even 20% of the limit, it starts to lower your credit score. So my philosophy nowadays is, the best credit card balance is a zero balance, and if you want to get a loan and if you're going to apply for anything, make sure you pay those credit cards off in full, at least 30 days before you apply for a loan to maximize your credit score. Now, something very interesting, when I bought my RV, we talked about this a little bit ago. I have now built myself back up to a substantial amount of available credit. Now, my philosophy is zero. I carry zero balances. I used one of my credit cards that had a $300 limit. And guys, these are the ones that get you in trouble fast. Okay. It was a $300 limit card. I only had $298 on that card, but I had $27,000 total available. So I was using like less than 1% of my credit, but it was costing me 82 points. Because it was 98% of one card. So the philosophy of overall credit didn't play in that game. So I had to actually wait till my credit card hit zero balance, my credit scores jumped, and then I allowed the RV place to run my credit, and it was like 791. It jumped up that far just from paying my one little credit card off. So guys, that credit card debt's really, really important.
Yeah, well, and it's really important too, like you said, that they're looking at the actual balance, the limit on each card individually. Yes, the overall total credit is great, but in your case, it wasn't looking at the overall total credit, available to debt. It was looking at that one card as though it looked like it was maxed out. So it's very important to be looking at all of the different components. How much do I owe on each one to the limit of each one? And then how much do I owe in total versus how much do I have available in total?
Correct. Correct. And just take the one that's the percentage off the worst and get that one paid down first, to get it all the way down. And then, you just got to get yourself in the habit of, man, like me, if I ain't got it, I don't buy it.
Yep.
That type of thing. I mean, it really became that. But it took a lot of hard knocks. It took a lot of buying things that I just shouldn't have been buying, because of want or whatever the case was, versus being smart and really watching that thing. Because also the other thing we should talk about real quick is 30-day late payments. Guys, 30-day late payments. I mean, I used to make my car payment late all the time. I would pay the late fee, and I don't know why. I just got in the habit of doing it, but I never paid it past 30 days late. Once it goes to 30-day late, it affects your credit score somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 80 points. And it'll take a full 24 months to recover.
Ooh, that is good to
all
know.
your points back.
That is good to know.
That's rough.
Okay. And I mean, it's rough. I mean, some of the stuff that they have for credit and how long it takes to rebuild it is some of the worst I've ever seen. And what it takes to really rebuild your credit when you get back on track. I mean, I think the whole thing needs an overhaul myself to really stimulate the economy and give people a break when they pay off their debts and they settle them to zero balance. And then, if there's collections and those kind of things, that's when they can see, they can give me a call and we can, help them to do those disputes and start to clean that dirty stuff up. But that 30-day late's tough. And it's also a very, very difficult removal. One of the hardest removals. If it's a single, we might have a chance. If it's more than one in a 24-month period, you just got to start making payments on time to gain those points back.
So let me ask you a question. One thing that I really like that you said is that you were going out to buy the RV, which, to be honest with you, I've got a very similar story, and Heidi will actually laugh about it, but I was getting ready to buy my RV as well. And I was watching my credit too. And I could see that my credit score had dropped. Well, I was in the middle of my mortgage company. The servicer changed. So they sold my mortgage to another servicer. My old mortgage fell off as though I'd paid the loan off, and the new mortgage had not shown up yet. So not having the mortgage on the credit report dropped my score. So I was literally like waiting for the stupid new mortgage company to put my mortgage back on my credit report so I could go buy this RV and have my credit report pulled. And I like that you mentioned that you said that, you were doing the same thing. You made that payment, you waited that 30 days, you're getting that credit score up before you went and you applied. So what I want to ask you is how were you watching that? I know how I watched mine, but how were you watching your scores? What do you feel is the best way for a consumer to truly monitor what they have going on? And please don't say Credit Karma, because that is, I hate it. When people tell me that they're watching their Credit Karma, I'm like, ugh. So what are you using? What's your engine?
You know what? The thing about credit reports, and there's a whole lesson that is learned when, especially working mortgage, a mortgage company runs a mortgage report and gets mortgage scores, and then we utilize what's called a consumer scoring model. So you can get your credit report every single month without it hurting your credit. It's called a soft pull through the consumer websites such as Experian.com, those type. And again, Credit Karma is used by a lot of people, but guys, just remember, free is free. Now, it might be absolutely better than nothing, but remember, it's free information, so be a little bit careful. My suggestion, and I've used my service, which is Identity Club, for like 5 years. It costs me $21.99 a month, but I can get an updated credit report every single month. It's my identity theft protection. And guys, you think that things are getting crazy. Once you get your credit back in order or you have good credit, isn't it worth 70 cents a day to protect it? Like, I just don't understand when people drop the service because of the $21. I'm like, that's my most prized bill that I pay every month, is for somebody to be overseeing my credit that I work my what off to build back up, because you can wreck it a whole lot faster than you can get it back. And once you get it back,
Uh-oh.
We lost him. We lost
Oh, no.
George.
Oh.
But he is absolutely right, and maybe he'll be able to get us back, and he'll be able to join back in. But he is absolutely correct, Heidi, in what he was trying to say. I mean, I actually probably go overboard, and I have Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, all three that I pay a monthly bill of $20 to monitor my credit report. But I watch so many people, and we get so many calls about, I had my identity stolen. I had my identity stolen 2 years ago. Oh, good, he's coming back. And when that happened, I was starting to get the messages from all of the different, companies that were monitoring my credit saying credit pull, credit pull, credit pull, credit pull. And I knew that something was happening, and I could get in there, and then I could start making phone calls to every single store in the mall that somebody walked in and did an application for a new credit card. And I was able to get that stopped before it destroyed my credit, and it was too late. So George, we lost you, but we're so happy that you got back. I was like, we lost him. Oh, he's back. And we were just talking about the credit monitoring and how that is just so important. And you're absolutely right that is worth every single dollar of $20 a month. And I had my credit, my identity stolen just a couple of years ago. And because I had all of those, that credit protection, I was getting all of the notifications telling me, somebody's pulled your credit, somebody's pulled your credit, somebody's pulled your credit. And I had a lady I just talked to on the phone today where she did have identity theft, and she didn't know until after it was 2 years later, and all of a sudden she had her credit report pulled for something, and there was a charge off on her account from a company she'd never had anything with. And it's so old now that she's going back and trying to fight something that happened 2 or 3 years ago. So that it is really important. The credit monitoring, I have to agree with you, and I can't say enough about it.
And hey, George, I think we have a question for you on that one. A couple comments. Norma on YouTube says good evening, and Heather says hi, everyone. And then Norma asked, how can we freeze our credit access?
To freeze your credit, you want to call the bureaus directly. So you can just go online and get the 800 number directly, and you would have to call them absolutely, directly, and they can freeze that for you.
Good answer. The other thing that I love is, I was telling Heidi that I've got, a little bit of OCD. I kind of go a little overboard in everything that I do. So instead of just having one credit monitoring, a month, I have all three with all three bureaus. But with each of them, what's really nice is that I had to do that after my identity was stolen. I had to go in and freeze my credit. Well, then when I wanted to apply for something, it was this major pain in the butt to try to call and get the credit report unfrozen. And so now with all of these different credit monitorings, you can actually go in and unlock and relock your credit report with a click of a button, and it makes it just so much easier, but it's in essence the same idea.
Yeah, for sure. And, some of these, like the one that I mentioned, I actually do complete computerized analysis off those reports, and we're able to import those. And not like the old days of, you sending me a report and me having to manually try to figure it out. It's really accurate now. We keep our time frames really quick. And, the goal is obviously to get people keys in their hands. We want to get them qualified for whatever it is that they're looking to qualify for. But more important for me is the long term, getting them back to that, score that you feel good about, that that you can go in and get your daughter a student loan, and these are all based on experience that I'm sharing with you guys, that, moments where I couldn't do something which was tough on a parent, so it's not as expensive as you think to get your credit fixed too. And, Debbie, I guide everybody, I walk them through. So it's not like calling some big, huge company where they're going to, just be kind of thrown around. They're going to be completely walked through, and, us teaming up together and walking them through that all the way to their keys is a really exciting experience.
Yeah, no, it is. And you actually mentioned to me on the phone, which I didn't know anything about. So it was kind of cool that you started talking about it. Solar happens after the fact, right? People aren't coming to me for a loan for solar. If they are, they're trying to get cash out of their house to pay cash for the solar install. So you were actually mentioning that there's, you've got solar companies that will go to you and ask you to help clean up credit because there's people trying to get solar put on their home. So are those like people that are trying to get a loan or a lease, or kind of explain that a little bit? Because I'm sure people that are listening to my show have thought about putting solar on their home.
Oh yeah, and solar has become, I'm not the solar expert, I've been certified in solar and things like that, but it's very much like buying a car now. They have zero down loans, and at I think as low as like 3% or 3.99. And the better your credit, the better the rate's going to be. Very much like buying a car.
Oh, wow. Did you know that, Heidi?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know we have people that come to us with solar loans, or liens or leases, and but I've never really looked into it. And I had somebody actually ask me one time, like, should you do solar or should you not? And I'm going to be totally honest with you, I have not. With as busy as we are and everything that we're doing, and I can barely take care of my own personal refinance versus everybody else that I'm coming into work for every day, right? So
Right.
I've just never really looked into the solar to really know very much about that process. But obviously, people do come to us, whether they're buying a home that's already got solar on it, or they're refinancing a home that has solar on it, or they're trying to get rid of that Pace Hero loan, or they're trying to get, pay off the actual
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
loan that they took for the solar. And there are differences in between all of the different types of loans, but it never dawned on me that if you were trying to get solar, that they would be going through a credit application and pulling credit, and the salespeople would be sending somebody over to George and say, George, fix their credit so we can get them solar. It just never dawned on me.
Yeah.
Well, with my last house,
Yeah.
remember it had solar. So I learned a lot about solar shopping for my last house. The lease, the own, the purchase it outright. There was so much I learned about solar that I never really cared to learn, but I did. So I learned a lot more.
That's funny. So George, so you gave us the advice about the credit balances. Don't let the 30-day late happen. It's going to take you 24 months to get, that late, what you lose from that late payment. It's going to take you 24 months to get it back, assuming everything's paid on time and you don't miss anything else or don't have anything else show up on your credit report. Is there anything else that you can recommend that somebody does that they can do on their own? And then we'll kind of get into working with you with credit repair. So is there anything else you can think of that you would recommend?
Yeah, one of the best strategies that somebody can do, whether you're just starting out with your credit or you're, advanced in your credit. I mean, I had to do this strategy. Once I went through the credit repair process, I ended up getting rid of all my old history. So all of my, my mortgages and, stuff like that, whether they aged out or they were removed, they were no longer there. So I didn't have any credit history. So the other thing that goes along with your credit score is having enough open accounts, enough open long-term, the length of time that you've had that account. So there's a strategy called an authorized user. Now, this is a very, you just got to, one thing that's really, really tough is when somebody co-signs for somebody. I hear this almost on a daily basis. I co-signed for my son on a car and he made the payment late. Co-signing is unfortunately, one of the worst things that we can actually do for somebody versus just teaching them, hey, I don't know about you guys, but if I would ask my dad to co-sign for a car for me, he would have said, yeah, right. Go get a job and buy your own car. I mean, 12 years old, I was already working to buy a car when I was 16. So it's a little bit different now, but co-signing is really bad. But back to your point, an authorized user is when you get added to somebody else's credit line. Now, I always say the best people for this, and I did this, I called a friend of mine. My score was maximum 711. Now, the reason it was 711 is because I went through the entire repair process. Then I established a couple small credit cards through getting I got the one, the secured card first, where I put $300 to the bank and they gave me a $300 card. Then I was actually able to qualify for two $800 cards. And that's all I had. So 711 was my maximum score. So I had a buddy of mine add me two cards that were 10 years old. One had a $5,000 limit, one had a $10,000 limit, zero balances. I know this gentleman, and he's an 850 credit score all day long. So I have to trust him that he's not going to run up his credit cards and that he's not going to make a late payment because it's going to affect me. Now, he has no effect because the credit card got mailed to him and he cut it up. I can't even touch it. But his entire history went on my report and my scores jumped up over 80 points the following month. So if you're lacking in credit lines or in credit limits, talk to your mom, talk to your grandma, talk to somebody in the family that can add you to their credit line simply by turning the card over, calling the 800 number. And again, they're not going to be at risk because they're going to get the card and cut it up. You have to be prepared and only use it for as long as you need it to qualify for your own cards. Then you can drop off that authorized user account.
Well, I'll tell you what's really, really bad is, I did the same thing for my son, Manny, and, he's 19 now. But when he turned 18, I actually added him to one of my credit card accounts that I had established for a long time that's got a really nice big balance and no debt on it. And, that little turd, he's got a better credit score than I do because I have an American Express card because I don't like to carry balances. So I have my American Express, charge everything to it every month because I've learned my lesson. Every single time I use a debit card at a gas station or a debit card at a restaurant, I always get hacked and somebody always breaks in and somehow starts to use my bank account. So, being afraid of that, being afraid of the identity theft. Okay, so I use the American Express. So the American Express literally gets every grocery, every business expense, everything that you could possibly imagine, insurance, everything goes to this American Express. And I pay it off once a month. Well, the problem is that they report the balance. And so it looks like I've got this huge debt on my credit report, even though I don't. So what do you suggest? I mean, obviously, I'm not out trying to get credit right now. So if I was, I would pay that balance off. I would wait 30 days. I wouldn't use the card. I'd tell everybody, use your debit cards for this month and then apply. But do you have any recommendation or suggestion, especially around the American Express user, that it is due every month and they do pay it off every month? I mean, my kid's got a better credit score than I do.
I know it. You know what? The most frustrating part of my job, and probably the hardest thing, but also the easiest thing, is there's a lot of questions I have to answer by saying I don't know. Unfortunately, there's no algorithms that will tell us certain things like, okay, you have an American Express with $3,000 on it. Well, it's costing you exactly this, and if you do this on this date. Now, what I did is I called all my credit card companies and I asked them, what day do you report to the bureaus? So that I knew I was waiting for the 21st of the month because that's the day that they report. So you can always call your credit card companies and, ask them. And again, the American Expresses and the Discovers, because they report the balance, but then you pay it in full, it hits at that wrong time. So you just got to kind of be on top of that.
Yeah. Well, I like that idea because if
I don't know what's my credit.
Yeah, but I like that idea. If you know when they report the balance, then you know to make a payment before that would happen. So maybe that, it shows up with a very small balance when they do report. I don't know. I mean, that kind of sounds like that might be something that could be worked with.
Yeah, and you can also go into one of your applications that you have for your credit report, and there should be a score simulator in there, and you can actually see what your balance is on your American Express and go to the simulator and say, hey, if all my credit cards were paid off, how many points would I gain? It's one of the things we do when we do a computerized analysis of somebody's credit, which is only $1 for somebody to get done. Then we do that simulation, let them know exactly how many points are being tied up in their credit card balances. So
yep, I'm getting the googly eyes from Matt. He's not interrupting.
Well, I don't want to interrupt him. He's our guest. Deborah over on Facebook is asking, why is there different credit scores from the different agencies with the same information on the reports? For example, TransUnion may say 704, but Equifax would say 698.
Okay, great question. And you have to understand, one is all three companies are three separate companies. So they're going to have different things, but also each of your creditors aren't always reporting to each bureau. And lastly, I'm in business today because there are millions and millions and millions and millions of mistakes that are reported every single day on credit reports. So you almost got to take stuff kind of, you can stay on top of it and make sure that it's correct, but my scores dropped 20 points yesterday. I didn't do a single thing But a lot of people freak out when they see that on these sites, guys. So just remember, unless you're having a mortgage person run your credit, or a car dealer, or a, even a solar company, the higher end, that's where you're going to get your real proper scores. So take the consumer scores, your Credit Karmas, your Identity Clubs, all of the ones that we're using with a grain of salt. The most important thing is all the information correct that's on your report.
So, Heidi, before, because I do want to ask George, and that was great. Thank you so much, George. And, Deborah, if you've got another question for us, please feel free to put it in the feed. Hopefully he answered, your question that you had. But before, I'm going to ask him to start to get into, his company and what he does and who's his perfect client. But before I do, did you have any questions that you were thinking that you wanted to ask that we didn't cover?
So I think a really important question that a lot of people have is really around like old debts, old medical collections, or any other kind of collection. What is really the best step, right? Should they go and start negotiating to pay those off? Should they keep them? Is it really worth it? Is it going to change their credit? I think a lot of people are concerned about really old debt, and they're, especially when they get into the process to decide they want to buy a house, want to buy a car, want to, start fixing their credit. They've got a lot of old stuff. Maybe they were young, they made mistakes, who knows? What would be your best information for someone like that without obviously being able to see their credit at the time?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because the bigger the bank, the harder it is to settle that or to get it removed. Okay, so my what I was told when I started the process was, we got to go through the first phase of what I do as far as a repair, really in general, because we want to find out what's real. Those old medical bills, the highest removal rate of anything we do is medical, because there's just millions of mistakes on those. So those, you want to dispute everything, whether you do it on your own. And, people are more than welcome to do it on their own. They can send in their disputes. There's just a lot of different, it's kind of like trying to sell your own house, right? It's just not going to go as smoothly as having somebody help you and walk you through the steps. And we're extremely affordable for a personal, walkthrough. So my philosophy was, like, I had an American Express with $1,000 charge off. Mm-hmm. Now, they told me at the beginning, right when we started our first phase, they said, let's dispute this, because you never know, in anywhere. But we want to find out if it's real and if they're going to keep you accountable for this debt. And they said, but most likely it's going to come back verified, meaning I would be responsible. But we need to go through the dispute to find out for sure. Once I went through the first 35-day dispute, it came back verified. They helped me with a couple things to say.
Oh no, we lost
to
him.
American Express, and I was able to settle that debt for $500 for 50 cents. It was settled and went to zero balance. My credit scores jumped immediately. Then we went back and disputed it again, and we actually had to dispute it a few times before it actually got removed.
Okay.
So that's kind of the process of what I suggest is, that first round of disputes, and especially with medicals, you'll see those disappear. You'll see some verifications. If it's a big bank and a big balance, be ready to have to settle that thing. And guys, I've had people that I've worked with, and in 35 days, we've taken their credit scores right to where they need to be. And then I have clients like in Santa Clarita, a girl named Tanya, actually, she came to me and wanted a house and a solar system. She was in the 500s. She ended up with 18,000 in verified debts through family challenges. Got a second job and worked for 3.5 years. Got her solar system in April of this year. And so it's a path to know what she had. She just wanted to know what she had to do. She didn't care how long it was going to take her. Just tell me exactly what I need to do to finally get my credit back because of, her personal family situations. And we've got millions of people like that just need to know what to do.
Well,
Right.
yeah,
That's
and
great.
yeah, well, and I guess that my question too is I get the same question a lot that Heidi was going after, and we have people that'll say, I don't want to pay that off at 6 years old, and it's going to fall off in 7 years, and then I've had other people say, well, even after 7 years, they're just going to sell it to another company, and it's just going to come up, and it's going to be there, and it's going to report again. So I really like the advice that you're giving of let's do the first round, because if it falls off, it's probably not going to come back. Probably, right? Is that kind of what you're saying, George?
Well, yeah. Well, the older the debt, the higher chance of removal. But if you go into the whole process going, look, unless it's identity theft, guys, unless it's straight out identity theft, we want to dispute it, we want to get it fixed. That's the way it is. But if I took responsibility for what my debts, I was ready for all of them to come back verified, and anything that was able to get removed for me was a gift. I was able to that I didn't have to take care of that. So, but at least I knew what I did need to take care of. And a lot of people come to us, Debbie, as you know, and they think they're going to pay, the fee for getting their credit repaired, and it's just going to all disappear. And that's just not the case. So the commercials people here and, hey, come to us and we'll get you a 750 credit score in 30 days. That's all BS. It's all just to get their phone to ring. So it doesn't happen like that, but there is a process we can walk everybody through very, very comfortably and at their pace to get them where they want to go and eventually get their keys.
All right, I love that. So let's talk really quick about who is your perfect client, George. So when somebody is thinking maybe I should call credit repair, who's your perfect client? Give us kind of an example of somebody that you feel would benefit from your services.
Well, right off the bat, anybody that doesn't have a credit score in the 700s that is looking to make an immediate purchase needs to reach out. We do once they get in touch with us, they set up their profile for $1, and it allows us to deliver a $200 value computerized 15-page analysis of their personal credit. So I've had people come to me that have 720 credit scores, but they want 780. And then you've got people that have, 650 and they want to get into the 700s. So I've taken everybody. In fact, I don't know that I've seen a report as bad as mine, unfortunately, in all the years I've been doing this, because of the multiple things with my business I had, with my family and everything else. So I was able to, overcome all of that, not overnight, but I got on the process of being able to do it. So the perfect client is anybody that is not really a 750 and above that wants to know how to get there.
Okay. No, I like that. I like that very much. I might be calling you tomorrow.
And we've got a couple
Well,
more.
Debbie, here, this might really help. Let me just add this, and Debbie can add more to this later. But we know every 20 points affects their mortgage and what they're going to get and what their interest rate is going to be. So that's our goal: 20, 20, 20, 20.
Yep, absolutely. And sorry, Matt, what was
Yep,
going on?
no problem. On Facebook, Deborah says that she's here with Dad.
All right, we got another follower. Woohoo!
and,
Dad's in the house.
His friend John says hi. They're taking him home. I'm guessing that's Cicero.
All right.
And then Emma's, on YouTube, just says hello.
All right. Well, I don't think we've ever seen that screen name
No,
before, so
that's a
that
new
might
one.
be a new one. Thank you so much for watching us, and for everybody out there listening. If you guys have any questions at all, we've got George Hartmann on with us. He's with Credit Repair in 30. That's right. Credit Repair in 30, right, George? Okay, just making sure I didn't say it wrong. Credit Repair in 30. And, he can answer any questions that you guys have at all about credit scores, what's the best thing that you can do. Feel free to put those questions into the feed. If you guys are watching us Saturday morning on Go Country, you got to watch us live at 5 every Wednesday from YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. And you guys can ask us those questions with anybody that we've got on, or even if it's just me and Heidi. But you can ask us those questions and get them answered live. You guys want to give us a call, please feel free to do that. Get on the calendar, talk to us 101. You guys want us to get you over to George, we'll get you over to George. We'll make sure that you get his information. But call us at 844-935-3634. And if you've never watched us do it live before, please do. Go to our YouTube channel, just look for Mortgage Mom Radio. Click on that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you know when we do go live. but we're always live at 5 on Wednesdays. So we love that.
And Em is on YouTube asks, how about student loans? Can I help my son applying without me signing as a cosigner? Or, I'm sorry, how can I help my son applying without me being a cosigner?
Ooh, well, that's a really hard question. So we're not student loan experts. You know, you're going to have to, I would say, probably talk to the schools, to be honest with you, and the different student loan companies. We don't do student loans, and they don't really have anything to do with the credit report. So, I mean, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but George, you know anything about credit? No, student loan? Okay. So student loans, really, that's a whole nother animal. But what we would say is talk to the schools, talk to the banks, find out what kind of, you know, loans are available to your student for them to get on their own without you having to co-sign. It does bring up a good point, though, that a lot of people don't understand, is that when you sign up for a student loan for your child, even if they are still in school, even if it is deferred, I have to hit you with a monthly payment towards your qualifying debt, even if it's not, there's no payment due. So that is a great question that came out. And if you can avoid signing for a student loan, all the better. We've got student loan, cash out refinances. So if you need to get some money out to pay for those student loans, instead of taking the student loan or pay those student loans off, we can do that for you too. But that was a great question. I'd love to give an answer, but that's really not in our wheelhouse.
Aunt Lori is on YouTube as well.
Another family follower. Woo!
She's asking if she gets a family discount. And
everybody gets the family discount.
And she says, I hate student loans. Do not sign for them.
Yes. Aunt Lori's got a good amount of them of her own, for sure. And no, whatever you can do not sign for them. All right. So, George, anybody that's got a 750 or lower credit score that wants their credit score to be higher should give you a call. And let's talk a little bit about the program. So there's a ton of programs out there that are a low initiation fee, so much smaller upfront, and then you pay a monthly fee for the service, for the disputes, and for the credit repair. And sometimes it'll take 5-6 months. There's been people that have been in those programs for a year. So really, at the end of the day, when you look at what the cost of the credit repair program is, it's really not that cheap, right? So how does your company work? What do you guys charge? Do you have the monthly? Talk to us about, your services.
Well, coming from the mortgage business, I do things a little bit differently. And one of the sour tastes I had in my mouth was actually the companies that do, and it's their choice. And, there's a lot of great companies out there. So this is just a personal opinion, is I don't like the monthly charges. Sign somebody up for a monthly program. It just doesn't common sense to me that somebody's going to be very motivated to finish the job if I'm paying them on a monthly basis. It just kind of, one of those things, and I see it all the time, and I deal with clients that have been working those programs for months and months and even years. So when I started my company, I said, you know what? I'm going to make this extremely affordable for people, get the job done quickly, because I come from the mortgage business. Nobody wants to wait to close on their loan.
No.
So a lot of times we're under the gun.
Well, and if you're not collecting every month, you're in a hurry to get it done too, right?
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, if you take a look at the majority of these companies, they're charging $89, $99 a month, and they keep you on for a year, and it costs you, over $1,000. Let's just say that's on the light end. And, what I do is I do just a flat rate with the programs I've put together and streamlined it the way that I have from the mortgage business into the credit repair business. I've been able to, get that cost down, and we charge a flat rate of $4.99. However, of course, it's Christmas time. It's Mortgage Mom Radio, so we discount that another 20%.
Hey, you didn't tell me you were going to do that. That's awesome. I love it. Thank you. So anybody that wants to get a hold of George for that discount, you guys got to call us, or you got to tell him that you're calling from us. So, no, thank you. Oh my goodness. You did not tell me you were doing that.
Yeah, that was a 2019 price. Unfortunately, we even 8 years ago, we were like $600-700 to be able to do what we do. But, when technology catches up, some companies don't pass that on.
Right.
And I've been able to, streamline things and being able to get that cost down, because my goal is to get the referrals from the people that have a circle of friends that are all looking to do something, but are either too scared, they don't know what to do, and they need some guidance, and not somebody that tried it and got kind of taken maybe at one time. So, yeah, I want to offer that discount. And then the secondary cost is the measly $21.99 a month for the Identity Club program. Now, that is very unique to me. I don't know that anybody else does what I do with that, because under the typical credit repair, the client would have to send me all their paperwork. So all those credit reports and all that paper that comes in the mail. And a lot of times that's part of the deal, 347. Well, I've never received that. Okay, well, just wait for it in the mail. And when you get it, send it to us. And in the meantime, they bill you another month. So by keeping this account open for, $21, the client does nothing. They don't have to send me a single thing. I can stay right on schedule at 35 to 40 days for the results and the next action steps. And we're never waiting for anything and needing our clients to do more than we really need them to do.
I actually absolutely love that. And I know that Heidi is agreeing right now, because I can't tell you how many people, obviously there are a lot of companies that do credit repair, and there's been some really great ones that have worked with us, and we've seen massive results come from them. But one of the biggest problems that we have are the clients, the actual client doing the follow-up, getting the paperwork and sending it back to the credit repair agency. And like you said, when they don't do that, then another month goes by and there's another $99 charge. So I love that you are doing that piece for them, and that's one less thing that they have to do for you to get that credit repair done. My question to you is, how long, if you're doing one flat fee up front that you're charging, how long or how many disputes, or what's your time frame that you say, this is what I'm going to do for you and this is where I stop? Because obviously you can't be disputing credit reports and working for these people for the next 2 years for a $4.99 cost, right? I mean, that's not beneficial for you whatsoever. And we all have to make money, right? So what's your time frame? How long is somebody in this program with you for that one-time upfront cost?
So we give them 3 phases of the repair for the $3.99 or $4.99 normally. So the first phase is 35 days. That's our disputes. So that's where we're going to go in and dispute and find out what's going on exactly. In 35 days, we're going to go to phase 2, which is basically settlements. It's going to really be based on settlements, and I deliver an extremely detailed email to yourself and your client of, what were the starting scores and the current scores, what's been deleted, what's been updated, what's been verified, what is the account number, what's the dollar amount, and what's the phone number I got to call. So then we get on the phone with them and teach them a couple of things on how they can save, 50 cents on the dollar in doing those settlements. So that middle section, again, we can go back to the example. It could be somebody has the funds to settle and we can settle immediately and move on to phase 3, or somebody's going to take some time to make those settlements. Now, the phase 3 is the same as the first phase, which is just more disputes, because all rounds with balances, that needed to be settled. So they get 3 phases, and if we need to do more disputes later on down the road, we charge just a flat fee of $199. Basically take care of the processing because they're a past client. And there will be clients like myself. I had to dispute things 4, 5, 6 times before I got, boy, do I wish it was $199 back then.
Oh my goodness. The very first time I ever did credit repair, I think it was something like the lady came to me and she was like, she wanted $2,200 because it was so many dollars per trade line on the credit report, but there's, 3 different bureaus that are all reporting the same trade line, right? So it was something like $2,200. I was like, no, I have bad credit for a reason, and it's because I can't afford that. So I then went ahead and I tried to dispute it myself and got a lot of stuff cleaned up. And then honestly, George, I signed up for your services and you got a lot of stuff. I mean, you got that last stuff I couldn't get, you got cleaned up for me, which was great.
Yeah, I've really tried to make this a time money proposition for people because, again, I wrote a book, on credit repair, and people could, in the past, could download it and do their own thing. But when you really put it down to, it's $200 a round basically to get my disputes off professionally and in the right way. And when it comes down to it, there are things that make a difference from a handwritten dispute to the way that we do things, so that dollar amount was good for us. We're able to put the time in that we need, take our time with each client, and still, be profitable. But again, we're looking to help as many people as we can. We don't need to, I don't have big corporate offices and all of that too. I'm telling you, this pandemic has made it a lot of things less expensive for people because it's not costing us as much to do business. And back in the day, I didn't even tell you, I had a credit repair company in 07 and 08, but it was all manual. I had to charge people so much money, I couldn't even stay in the business. I felt so bad about what we were charging people, but the hours and hours and hours that went into it were insane. I was going crazy. Now we've got the technology, we can get the cost down, and we can really let people take care of the most important thing that they need to take care of before a real estate transaction. So everyone can do their job smoothly for you, is have your credit in the best possible position that you don't even need to worry about it, that you're going to walk in, get the red carpet, and be able to purchase whatever it is that you want.
Oh, no, I love that. And thank you so much, George, really for being on with us. I mean, we'd originally told you, it's going to be like 15, 20 minutes that we're going to be on, and, and then you'll leave, we'll do a commercial, and then we'll get back, and we'll get back to the regular mortgage show. And, obviously now we've spent an hour with you, but I think it's been really valuable information. I think it's great to hear your story, where you came from. I did not realize that you were that inexpensive to get it done. I love that you're not doing the, monthly fee. So I think that's fantastic. And I like that you were, honest about what you're going to do for that fee, because in reality, there's no way for that cost that you can work with somebody for the next year. I love that you're only going to do it 3 times because I want to get that person back. I'm sending them to you to get that credit fixed so that we can get them into that home loan or get that refinance done or get that cash out for their daughter's wedding or whatever that it might be that is happening that's going on. So I really do appreciate it. I know, Heidi, you look like you had something good to say.
Well, obviously, I've got a couple that happen to be very close friends of mine that I might challenge you on the worst credit you've ever seen. But I think that they're a really good fit. And I love that you have a 3-step process and there's kind of an end game to it, right? And there's expectations set. We do this, we do this, we do this. And then this is what's expected. And yes, if it's your debt and, come in expecting that you are probably going to have to settle or pay some of these debts or, possibly most of these debts or, it's transparency. And I have dealt with and spoke with and even on behalf of our clients, quite a few credit repair companies that as soon as you get on the phone, it's just like, oh my gosh, what did you pay them?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I have to say this really quick because we're at the end of the hour, which we don't have to go away at all. Anybody that is watching us, you guys stay on. We're going to keep going. So we'll do a little bit of Mortgage Mom bonus time. And anybody that is listening Saturday morning at 7 on Go Country 105, if you guys want to hear how the rest of this show played out and more information, and we're going to keep George on and we'll keep talking. But if you want to hear it, all you guys got to do is go to YouTube, find Mortgage Mom Radio, and you can check out our this show from this week, and you guys can go right to the end of the show and then start and continue to hear what happened. So if you are on Good Country and you guys are listening, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back next week. And for everybody on Facebook, don't go anywhere. We're going to keep going. So did I do it, Matt? Last week I was so upset because we had Jen on and it was such a great show and we were getting so much information. And I'm like, we got to go. And Matt's like, no, just do bonus time. Stay on. If people are watching and they have questions and they're enjoying it, don't go anywhere. Just keep it going. I'm like, how do I do that? So
right.
He's like, just announce to everybody, bonus time. And so I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was literally like the hour.
Right. No, that's fine. And, it's 7 o'clock here, so I'm going to have to drop off too because I got to get dinner. And I think it's 9 o'clock where you're at, George? Right? 9?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
It's
getting like
8 o'clock.
Oh,
Yep.
8. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm only an hour different from you.
Yeah.
So, but I just, I thought how great your program sounds amazing. The cost is incredible. It seems very transparent, easy to understand. And I've dealt with a lot of our clients. I get on the phone with them to find out what happened, what's going on, that they felt like they already went through it. Then we pull their credit. And I'm like, so here's what's still on your credit. And they're shocked, right? They thought everything was good. So I just appreciate the transparency. I think it sounds like a great program. The cost is phenomenal considering so many I've seen, heard of, talked to. So
Yeah. Well, and I actually love this bonus time thing because now we can actually get into the real mortgage mom, right?
Right?
Yeah. We don't have to be filtered for radio. So one of the things, and yes, George, thank you so much, but I do have to bring this up. It is so funny. So we have been saying now for the last, Matt, 4 months or so, that my goal for 2020 was to get some Twitch followers and to get some people watching us on Twitch. And George, if you don't know what Twitch is, it's a gaming platform that the kids stream through. And not all kids, obviously there's a bunch of adults that do it as well. But, it's just another platform that people will watch, live streaming. And mostly it's gaming, gaming, whatever. So we actually had a comment today that came from somebody that we have no idea who it was. It is on Twitch. And I don't know, can everybody that is watching us see the questions from every place?
No, only if they're on that place.
Okay, gotcha. So on Twitch, we got one comment today, which was huge, but it was from somebody that we don't know, and they wanted to know, this is the question, do you think female gender is superior or inferior? Well, this is Mortgage Mom Radio.
Right.
So it has nothing to do with whether I think that something is better or not better. And I'm not even going to get to anything other than I am a mom and I am female. And this is Mortgage Mom Radio. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Right.
But I had to do it. I mean, well, this is the after hours part, right? This is where
Right.
we can just.
funny.
Now
What
you found
what
your
a
way to After
question.
Dark.
Yeah, right? It was an awesome question. I know. And I keep telling Matt over and over again, I'm like, we've got to figure out how to do a Mortgage Mom After Dark. Like, we work really so hard and we work so many hours. And for us to even do this on every single Wednesday, I'm like, I got to do a show. And I love doing the show. I really do. I enjoy it. We bring people so much information that they really do need. I really believe we're bringing a great service to people. Having somebody like George on who is helping them fix their credit and how to make it better, and that gets somebody to buy a house that couldn't before, and escrow and title and, all those things that people go, what are you talking about? Why is this? Why did this lender charge me this and that lender charge me that, right? So I love that we do this, but it would be great to also be able to go, whew, all right, now we're talking.
Right. Oh no. I mean, like today, like I said, I got on, I was on at like 8:00 my time.
Yeah.
And now it's 7:00 my time. And it's like, but I'm just like trying to all day as fast as I can just to be able to get on.
Yeah.
And then even today, I felt like I even had a little more time because now I'm an hour ahead of you. And I still was scrounging to get.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh my God, there's never enough time on Wednesdays.
Right. But this is a great time for us to be able to talk about like really funny stories that happened. I mean, so George, to get back to like where she was going, she was trying to be very polite and saying, I might challenge you for the worst credit report ever. She actually called me on the phone and she's like, these, and they were good friends of hers. And she's like, okay. So I told him, just let me pull it. Let me see what's going on there. And she called me up and she's like, they asked me, what do I do? And I told them, like, change your identity.
That's my answer.
Get a completely new social security number. Just start over.
Is it start over, apply for a new social security number?
How old is your kid? You might need to use theirs.
Right?
I was like, between you guys, you got a couple kids, so maybe pick the youngest. He won't notice for a while.
That's so funny.
Yeah, in my family, thank God I'm a third and my son's a fourth, so we can just go to each other.
Just swap it out.
Yeah, and when one does something bad, you can call up and be like, that was my son. This shouldn't be on my credit report. This isn't mine.
Totally wrong. Totally wrong.
I love it.
That's the third.
I love it. That's
nope,
fantastic.
that was my dad.
Well, I think that we need to start this. I think, and even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes after we're done with the hour, but I think it's awesome because like there's been some times where we'll start. I mean, you're crabby, man. Like there's a lot of times that we're not. I mean, we're ready, we're going, we're excited, we're getting it started, right? And then there's other days where it's just a really rough day, but you've still got to like put the smile on and get on the show and get it done and do it. And there's times that people can really piss you off. And it would be, and I would love to be able
I am today.
Yeah, you did. What did you said? I hate today or something like that. You didn't tell me what was happening or what went on, but it was like,
I hate today. I just wanted to share this with you.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, George, thank you so much really for being on. That was fantastic. I really hope that everybody listened. What's the best way for them to find you? CreditRepairIn30.com. Should they go to the website? Do you want them to call you? What's the best?
Yeah, they can go to the website or they can reach me on my phone. Is 805-432-6772. So, send me a text, send me a phone call, go to CreditRepairIn30.com, and there's a little, inquire there button and pop it on there. I'm usually back in touch with people pretty quick, and we'll just have a chat.
Yeah.
See where they're at, and if they want to take advantage of getting their analysis done for $1, we can help them get set up over the phone, or they can grab the website and get set up themselves, and whatever it takes to get them to be really clear on what they need to do, to get themselves back in position to purchase a home.
No, I think that's great. Thank you so much. And obviously, they can all call our office as well if they want, and we will get them in touch with you as well. Make sure if you guys are listening and you want to use Georgia's services that you mention Mortgage Mom Radio. That way you get that discount. I mean, we're talking, that was like a Christmas surprise. Like, That was awesome. That was so awesome.
Holidays are coming.
They are. So, give us a call. It's 844-935-3634. We'll get you in touch with George. You can go to his website, CreditRepairIn30.com. And again, I'm so excited about this bonus time. So one thing I want to bring up really fast, and then we're going to go because we don't really get to do this. Okay, so Aunt Lori says, what's it called again? Aunt Lori. CreditRepairIn30.com. Check him out. It's George Hartmann. Anyway, so we don't really get to do this bonus hour, right? So a couple of weeks back, what was it, maybe 4 weeks ago that we got the herpes comment?
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Like we had somebody got in the comment feed and it was obviously one of those people. What do they call them when they're
Trolls.
Troll. Yes, it was obviously a troll, right?
Yeah.
But there was this big, huge, long list, like laundry list of a message that was all about how he cured his herpes or she cured her herpes or something.
Right.
It was absolutely hilarious, and I would love to be able to read those things in the middle of the show. I mean, how much more fun could this show be, right?
I'm just telling you, I think you should read those things.
I know. It's like Matt actually texted me. That's why sometimes you'll see me look down. I'm getting like communication. Right. And he texted me. He's like, I'm not going to read that one. And it was from the Twitch one about whether, you're superior or inferior. I'm like, just read it, whatever. We'll roll with it.
Right.
It is what it is. All right. Well, we hope that you guys all had a wonderful week. George, again, thank you so much. CreditRepairIn30.com. Heidi, I love you. It's great to see you. I only get to see you like once a week, and it's when we do this. I hate that you're in Arizona. I hate that you're an hour ahead. It's really driving me crazy right now.
I know.
But that's all right.
You guys just shouldn't have changed your clocks.
I
Makes
know.
no sense.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
Yeah, what's it like in the future?
I know, right?
Do you know the president yet?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Did you get the information
George?
Before we did?
George, you're a little further ahead than me.
I'm living in the woods.
Good for you.
So where do you take off and go to next, George?
Well, I just got back from 3 weeks in Maine, and I'm leaving the day after Thanksgiving to go head down to Florida.
Nice. And then how long will you stay in Florida?
As long as I want.
See, I got to get those kids out of my house.
Right? Good luck.
That's what I need to work on. All right. Well, hey, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week and weekend. Yep. And we hope to see you all here next week. Please follow the show and ask us your questions. Put them in the feed, and we'll see you then. Thank you so much, George. Thank you so much, Heidi. Love you both.
All right. Have a great week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.